Hi, my name is Peter Erskine. I'm 62 years old as of this videotaping in September of 2016. I started taking drum lessons when I was 5, so I've been doing this for a long time. Something I've always wanted to do, play the drums. I think I was very lucky to get the love and support for training from my two parents, my brother and sisters, and that's an essential part of any musician's growth, getting that kind of family support and having a good teacher. And I had a great teacher, a guy named Johnny Severa, who just passed away at the age of 90, was a wonderful instructor. And again, the word here would be love. The love for what you're doing and the love that people share in helping you grow and to learn. So I started going to summer jazz camps from the age of 7, and that's where I met Stan Kenton, and then I eventually started playing the drums in his band just after my 18th birthday. So I've been on the road since 1972. All of my travels took me around the world, playing with a lot of different groups. I went from the Kenton Band to Maynard Ferguson, from Maynard's band to Weather Report. Then I moved to New York City, started playing with the Steps Ahead Band, started working more and more in Europe, making a series of albums for the ECM label. Eventually, life brought me to California. Now, I've been here for close to 30 years. All this time that I've been a musician, I've been involved with various music industry companies, starting off exclusively with drum-related companies, but then branching out to the folks and the companies that are involved with dreaming up and designing and making such things as microphones and headphones. And that brings us to the present. You know, after I joined Weather Report, I kind of began life as a studio musician or a session musician. When I was on the road, we would occasionally get into the studio to record, but these bands only knew how to play loud. And we didn't really know how to play to a microphone. And we didn't know anything about wearing headphones. And believe it or not, there's something to wearing headphones, and there's certainly something to playing to a microphone and playing in the studio. Once I came to LA and began doing some of that work, then spending 5 years in New York City, where I did quite a bit of recording, and eventually moving back out here. Like I said, it's been 30 years. I spent a lot of time in the studio. My discography and filmography is well over 700 titles at this point. I never get tired of it. I still feel the same thrill and excitement when I walk into a recording studio, especially the legendary places like Capitol Studios or the soundstage at Warner Brothers, or on the old MGM lot. That's now the Sony soundstage. The Sony soundstage is an interesting case in why I love to use these headphones, because the drum isolation booth there is, for lack of a better term, it's a loud room. And if the music for, let's say, a film score calls for the drums to be played with a lot of volume, then that creates this very loud environment. And it can be hard to hear the program information that I need to hear in the headphones. There's a practical reason for wearing headphones that can isolate sound from the outside, so you can just focus on what it is you need to hear, for example, a click track. But there's also a hearing safety issue. What happens when you have trouble hearing the program material through your headphones is that you turn them up. And when you turn them up, then you might even play a little bit louder, and then you turn them up some more. And this very weird volume loop it goes into effect pretty quickly. Creating the most quiet listening environment for yourself protects your hearing. You don't need to turn up the audio signal so much. You know, I'll be honest, I don't wear these all the time and in all situations, but whenever I'm in a studio situation where there's going to be a lot of volume from either the other instruments in the immediate vicinity or just from the way I'm playing the drums, these are lifesavers, or more literally ear savers. And they really, they sound great, and they make it possible to do the job without really going too crazy, because when stuff gets too loud, it really makes me insane, as well as that much more hard of hearing. So I'm really delighted that I came across these, and I share the same enthusiasm that a lot of my drumming buddies have. And so that's my experience with the headphones and this long trail of music making that brought me to today, here in beautiful Santa Monica. You might think, from looking at me, that I'm one of those guys that likes to talk about the good old days and how much better things were back in the day. Well, I like now, and I love where technology has gotten us in terms of the quality of our instruments and the accessories. And I also like how teaching seems to have worked, not only in the case of my contemporaries as we were growing up and learning, but how we've passed things along. Between the developments in pedagogy, the use of technology, and just thanks to every drummer when he or she have kind of pushed those boundaries a bit, drummers today can play stuff that we never even dreamt of playing when we were young. So the talent levels are astonishing when I'm seeing at the University of Southern California and anywhere I go. The one thing about the old timers is that we do need to remind younger musicians about a time, not so long ago, but maybe far, far away, when we listened to music and it came in the form of a vinyl album. You had just about 40 minutes of music, and you bought that one album, and you spent a lot of time with that piece of music, and you learned every note. And it was a beautiful album package, and you could read about the session, and you really got involved with the thing. When you have 10,000 songs inside your smartphone, it's much harder to develop that same kind of intimate relationship with the music. So part of our job is to connect today's advanced musicians with a less advanced way of accessing music. That less advanced way meaning spending time with something. And of course, we share the benefit and wealth of whatever experience we might have, and which in my case is, frankly, a lot of things to share and tell. I'm also grateful to have a position at a university where I can do this and work with students, not just once or twice during a year, but throughout the year and for several years, one after the other, so I can see their growth and kind of be part of that process. So I like teaching. I think most teachers who teach like it because they learn, and I learn a lot from my students. I'm speaking to you from my studio. It's in my backyard. I love how technology has democratized the recording process. You know, in the old days, you had to really be invited to get into the club and to be able to walk into the studios at RCA or CBS. I'm still in awe when I walk onto some of those sound stages or, you know, Capitol Studios in Hollywood. But I love being able to work at home and in some of the smaller studios around town. My latest recording is the second album by what I call the Dr. Band. You can see in the album graphic, Dr. is Dr.um, drum, get it? And so that's my alter ego or pseudonym. I'm the Doctor, Dr. We're playing a concert tomorrow, as of this taping, at the Los Angeles County Museum of Art. I'm just finishing mixing this second album, which features John Beasley on keyboards, Bob Shepard on saxophone, and Benjamin Shepard on bass. Remarkable young bass player from New Zealand. Now, it's interesting, we did the recording at Sweetwater in Fort Wayne. They have an incredible studio. And you might think of Fort Wayne as sort of being in the middle of nowhere. I mean, it's in the middle of the country. And it is kind of in the middle of, like, I don't know, cornfields or something. But that's kind of great because there are no distractions. You know, you're there, you have a little breakfast, you go to the studio, and you're there to work. And when you're home, you have to deal with all the stuff that being home involves. So anyway, finishing up that album, I'll be releasing that on my Fuzzy Music label. That'll be our 24th album title that we've released. Staying very busy, working in town. I have a concert coming up at the Los Angeles Philharmonic. I also go out on the road with Seth MacFarlane from time to time. I'll be doing some recording on one of his TV shows as well next week. The other really big news, as if that wasn't all enough, between teaching, producing apps. I've designed a couple apps, well, about 5 apps now, with a really smart developer, a guy named Lucas Ives, who's up in the Bay Area. And we have these play-along apps for, well, any instrument, but they're piano trio based. And we did a big band app where you can minus not only the drums, piano, bass, lead trumpet, which is typical, but second trumpet, first trombone, bass trombone, alto, tenor sax, baritone sax. And all the music's in the iPhone or iPad. You can print it out. You can record yourself, send it to your teacher, share it with your friends. This has been real exciting. So let me see. We got the CDs, we got the apps, working on a new book for Alfred Publishing, of course teaching at USC, working in town, so on and so forth, traveling. And the really big news is I did a series of lessons. I've now joined the family at ArtistWorks. And ArtistWorks is a video exchange learning system where you not only get to see the video content of my lessons, and over 200 lessons. It was a full week, like 9 to 5 or 9 to 6 all day long. And they were very diligent. They made me really prepare this stuff so we wouldn't be sitting around thinking like, well, now what do I talk about?
Has been fortunate enough to have
Their
played
patented video exchange system
so
means
many
that
great
when you watch the video
as I
and
have
I
all those
have an assignment, or if you just have a question, you submit your video and I reply by video. And that's this fabulous lighting as part of the setup, or getting the room prepared for me to be making all these response videos, which, you know, if enough people sign up for the course, will keep me very busy. But I'm looking forward to it because I love talking about drums. I love playing the drums. And that's what's up in my life.